Hello and welcome to another English podcast with Paul. I'm your host, Paul. And as always, unscripted, unedited conversation, British conversation, just for you guys. Okay, advanced listening, advanced C2, whatever you want to call it. Just natural native conversation. And today we're talking about celebrities. Okay, royal family, things like that. Right then, let's dive in. I have some notes, so you'll see me glancing over to the other side. British celebrities, right? So the world already probably knows about the British royal family, and love them or loathe them, they're here to stay for some time. So they garner some celebrity status, they garner some awareness of the UK and Britain. People talk about them, my students talk about them, you see about them in the publications all around the world. They're obviously not the only royal family, there's lots of other more interesting royal families, more dedicated to the people royal families. But that's conversation for another day, how I feel about them. But we've got now a new king, King Charles. Lots of people love the beloved Queen Elizabeth II. Now we've got King Charles. And then that makes next in line Prince William with his wife Kate and the children. And then a little lesser known, but maybe more known in America, would be Prince Harry. You know, the rebellious renegade of the family, Prince Harry. Okay, Harry and Meghan. They're making quite a name for themselves in America, and good on them, I say. Well done to those guys. All right, so you know the royal family. You've heard about them. They've been around for a while. Okay, what about other celebrities that we have that come from the UK, that come from Britain, that are well known? All right, so many of you will know Daniel Radcliffe, also known as Harry Potter. And the other two that go alongside would be Emma Watson and Rupert Grint. Rupert Grint. Another lesser known character or celebrity that's well known in the UK is Robbie Coltrane. Now he played Hagrid. Now we'd be here all day if I just named all the cast of Harry Potter, but Hagrid, Robbie Coltrane has a special place in my heart from being around for many years and in some of the things that I enjoyed the most. So moving on, we've got other people like Ben Kingsley, often plays a bad guy. Who else have we got? Alan Rickman. He was in Harry Potter as well. Alan Rickman. And then slightly less well known, maybe outside the UK, Bill Nighy. I might say that wrong, Nye. He's very, very popular, very interesting. And then if you're really into British films and British TVs, then Anthony Hopkins. He was in the Marvel films, actually, as Odin. He also played in Silence of the Lambs and a few other films that went in that trilogy. Silence of the Lambs is a very famous character. Has a very distinct voice. Really good actor. Cillian Murphy from Peaky Blinders. Now, I don't watch Peaky Blinders, so I don't know much about it, but Cillian Murphy. Killian. I said that wrong myself. Cillian Murphy. It's because it's spelt with a C and not a K. Oh, this English language is crazy and stupid. Don't get me started. Peaky Blinders, yeah, lots of students like Peaky Blinders from Birmingham, and my brother-in-law is from Birmingham. It's an interesting place. Hugh Grant has been around for a long time in some really good films. I can't remember all of the films, but yeah, very good actor. Love Actually is a really famous British film, and half the people I mentioned already were in that film. Love Actually. Very rom-com-esque. So he's in that film as well. Also, as well as Colin Firth, Also played in the Bridget Jones's Diaries, and I think he was in The King's Speech. Now that's a bit more of a drama, a bit more serious. That's a very good film. Sir Michael Caine. Many people will know Sir Michael Caine. He has a famous quote that you might hear. "You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off." And I don't do it justice. I really don't. But that's Sir Michael Caine in lots of good films. He was also in one of the latest Batman with Ben Affleck as you know, the old guy. I forgot his name now. What's the old guy called? No, I can't remember. All right, who else we got? Oh, we got Helen Bonham Carter. Now she was in the Crown TV show and she was in Harry Potter. She's a really good actress. Often plays somebody a little bit odd or a bit different or a bit scatty. She seems to be quite well typecast for that kind of role. Helen Bonham Carter. Really interesting character. And then I'd imagine everybody knows James Bond, 007, currently Daniel Craig. Now, he's been in a few films. He looks very British. Daniel Craig. Who else we got? Now, if you don't know the name, Rowan Atkinson. Now, he's very, very famous for playing a few characters that we've known for a long time. Starting with Mr. Beast. What am I on about? Starting with Mr. Bean. Bean. The character that's now also a cartoon that doesn't speak much. A little bit embarrassed, a bit shy. Mr. Bean. And you may know that he's been in lots of other great TV shows. Mr. Bean. Rowan Atkinson. Amazing facial expressions and comedy actor just through movement. Absolute joy to watch. Now, this one's a little less known. Ralph Fiennes. Now, Ralph Fiennes, I think, now I don't want to get him mixed up, was He Who Should Not Be Named. He Who Should Not Be Named. And that was, from Harry Potter as the big evil villain. You know? Ralph Fiennes. All right, what about Tom Hiddleston? Anybody know Tom Hiddleston? He plays Loki. Now, to be honest, I don't know a lot of other films except for the Marvel films where he played Loki. And then he had a spin-off TV show called Loki again by, through the same corporation. So he's quite famous now. And then we've got Tom Holland, who's the newest Spider-Man. But then he's already done like 4 or 5 films. Maybe he'll get recast soon. But yeah, Tom Holland. He's very good. What about Hugh Laurie? And some people that have been to America or watch American TV may have seen the program House. House. So he plays Dr. House. This is Hugh Laurie. Was also very good friends with Stephen Fry. Now, Stephen Fry is often on British TV in the TV show QI, meaning quite interesting. A talk show where they'd find out information and where it came from. It's actually quite funny. I really like it. QI. So that's Stephen Fry. Then we've got Dominic Monaghan. And he's been in lots of films. He's been in X-Men films and lots of other interesting films. So that's just a handful of actors. Literally just a small fraction. We've got thousands of actors that you probably know from this film or that TV show. They get around. Other celebrities that the UK is known for span so many different genres and mediums of entertainment. So, for example, we have Banksy. Now, if you don't know, Banksy is an artist famous for doing like graffiti spray painting, but just of a small scene. And you can buy these now as like postcards and things like that. He's very well known. His art gets sold for a lot of money. A lot of money. And like I say, it comes across as very simple, as like a small image sprayed onto a wall. Now, I think he's from Bristol. Okay. Who else we got? Oh, the infamous David Attenborough. Many students can't pronounce his name very well. He does the nature shows, you know, the world planet and planet underground and things like this. Lots of interesting shows. David Attenborough. David Attenborough. Okay. Right. Now we have Jeremy Clarkson, another TV personality. Love him or loathe him. He is a diversive figure. An interesting character, we would say. All right, Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gear. And then he went on to, what is the other show? The Amazon, on Amazon Prime. What was that? Let me think. The Grand Tour. That's it, the Grand Tour, where they kind of took the show on the road, along with James May and Richard Hammond. Now he has a TV show with farming, where he's with another lad called Caleb, and they get up to antics and shenanigans and lots of crazy, silly stuff. Jeremy Clarkson. He's actually very intelligent as well. I know he plays a buffoon and plays up to the camera, but he's an intelligent person, often with interesting things to say. Sometimes not. All right. Now, what about this next one? Simon Cowell, known for wearing his trousers and belt up high from X Factor and American's Got Talent and Britain's Got Talent. He's been around for a while. He's normally the bad guy of the bunch, you know, on a panel show. So he's at the end of, oh, I don't like this. He's obviously got quite a reputation now for being a bit grumpy or saying what he thinks about the artist. He runs out of empathy for many of the artists that get up on the stage. Okay. Some people may know some businessmen we have, very famous businessmen and businesswomen. Deborah Meaden being one of them on the English version of The Dragon's Den. I think in America it's called Shark Tank, but The Dragon's Den in the UK. Also there's Peter Jones on there. And then there's that TV show that Trump was in, like You're Fired or something like that. Well, we had the same one over here, but with Sir Alan Sugar. Yes, he's been knighted, Sir. We have a lot of people that have been knighted or ordained or given an OBE by the royal family. I don't know if it helps their CV and their pay packet. I don't know. But yeah, Alan Sugar. And then one of a handful of, well, maybe not a handful, one of many billionaires is Sir Richard Branson, that started off with music and the Virgin Music Group and Media Group, and now into internet and fiber optics, and also with the aeroplanes. He has his own aeroplanes. Excuse me. What else? The hot air balloon and Virgin Galactic. So yeah, he's kind of like our billionaire that's often doing interesting things or shenanigans. Okay, so that's just some of the business people. Now also we have chefs, famous chefs. Now I used to say that wrong when I was younger. Chiefs, chefs, seems very similar. Chefs. So chefs, we got Nigella Lawson. She's very famous, and the ever swearing Gordon Ramsay. He's getting all over the world. We see him in America and then some other countries, and he seems to pop up everywhere. Gordon Ramsay with his foul mouth. Okay, Delia Smith. She's a little bit more old school. There's kind of a lot more like the 80s and 90s famous TV chef. There's actually lots and lots of TV chefs. Really lots. Marco Pierre White. He's actually English. He taught Gordon Ramsay and some other big names. Marco Pierre White, yeah, he's English. Although his name doesn't sound it. Yeah, interesting. And then, of course, we've got the last one I'm going to mention here now is Jamie Oliver. Jamie Oliver, famous TV chef. All right, now moving on, like comedians. So this next thing is comedians. You may have heard of them, you may not. Now, going back to like the 1960s and 70s, maybe even 50s, Charlie Chaplin. Very famous for having a bowler hat on his head, a little black moustache, and a cane. He'd wear a suit. Very good comedian. He did a lot of little TV shows. And then we got Sacha Baron Cohen. Is that right? Yeah. Sacha Baron Cohen. Many people know him as Ali G or the Dictator. Very tall guy. Very, very clever. Very clever. Sacha Baron Cohen. Now, another one that's made it well across the pond is James Corden. James Corden often does car karaoke. Actually, I think he's just finished doing it now. Car karaoke between LA and London, mostly in LA, picking up celebrity musicians and having a sing-song in the car with them. You know, that is really popular in America. But for us here in the UK, he's very famous for a TV show. Now, if you want to watch a funny TV show about Britain, it's called Gavin and Stacey. Gavin and Stacey. That's going back a few years now, sort of the early 2010, something like that, maybe a bit before that. So it's relatively current, but it's been going on for a little while now. Lots and lots of people like it. It's still being sold. Right. So James Corden, Eddie Izzard. He was in Eddie Izzard. He was in Ocean's 12 and 13, as far as I'm aware, yeah. As one of the guys in that film. You remember Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12? George Clooney and Brad Pitt. And then a few other people. A famous English one there was Don, the black guy. Don something, I can't remember his name now. So yeah, and then obviously I keep saying obviously because you might not know, but I know. Obviously to me, Ricky Gervais. Ricky Gervais is known well all over the world. He also has a cartoon now, but he likes to laugh and does lots of silly pranks, and he really mocks and teases everybody. He's a very clever and intelligent guy. You could talk to him about death, about religion. He's very, very well educated, or educated himself. So yeah, he's quite popular. He also did a drama about death recently. I can't remember what it's called now. Life After Death? I think it's that. That rings a bell. Life After Death. Yeah, Ricky Gervais. Again, very, very intelligent person. He likes to laugh. That's what draws me to it. I'm drawn by his laughter. He's always laughing out loud. So yeah. Okay, moving on now to kind of like explorers. We got Sir forgive me if I pronounce this wrong. Sir Ralph Fiennes, I don't know. It sounds like the other guy. Ralph Fiennes. Now, he was famous for like crossing the Antarctic and Everest and everywhere. He's been on a few TV shows because he's just always going, so dedicated to his cause. He's got so many, and he's very down to earth. He's a really nice guy. But yeah, he's so dedicated in his determination in his path, where he was going, his motivation, so strong. And then we've got Sir Francis Drake, going back hundreds of years. And then also Isambard Kingdom Brunel. Now, I know that doesn't sound like an English name right now, but back in the time that was quite popular. And it's a double-barreled name, Isambard Kingdom Brunel. I think his mum was called Kingdom and his dad was called Brunel. And he, like his father, was a very, very famous and clever architect and engineer. He helped build a lot of road bridges and things like that. So yeah, he's very famous. We have schools named after him and roads named after him. Very good. All right then. Now moving on to now filmmakers. Now, I wasn't aware there was so many, but we do have a lot of filmmakers. We got one called Mike Lee and Ken Loach. Now, my wife wrote those down. I don't know who they are. But we also have Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott. Scott Free Productions. And then Alfred Hitchcock. That's another big famous one from the 70s and 80s. Really big name. Made quite a few, not changes, but pinnacle moments in cinema. So Alfred Hitchcock. Okay. Now, I don't want this to be completely positive and biased one way. So just to level the balance up a little bit here, we've got our own super famous murderers. Yes, murderers. Try saying that after a few drinks. Murderers. Okay, so very, very famous. probably killed more people than anybody else. Harold Shipman. Harold Shipman. Now, he was a doctor, and he used to be aware of what people's last will and testimony was. Often he would ask people to change their will, so he would benefit from them financially. Now, although he was only convicted of, I think it was like 9 murders, they estimate that, although they don't have all the proof now, they estimate he killed over 250 people as their doctor. Wow. Over his lifetime. This is over many years, like 30 or 40 years, slowly killing off 1 or 2 here, try and get the money to himself. So that's our most prolific murderer, Harold Shipman. And then going back a bit before that, we had Peter Sutcliffe, known as the Yorkshire Ripper. Obviously, we didn't have Jack the Ripper, we had Yorkshire Ripper. Again, I think he was a very bad person and did lots of bad things. And then most recently, there's Fred and Rosemary West. Yes, and you don't often hear about a couple, but they were in it together. And now this road in Gloucester, this house is now missing. The council ripped down the house because people were driving by and slowing down and taking photos. And obviously the houses either side and the houses around were getting disturbed and fed up by it. And I'm imagining it brought the house prices down, the value of the houses in that area down. So that was a very scary and sinister. They had a lot of bodies under the house, and they kept them trapped for a long time. Fred and Rosemary West. Now, I don't know if Rosemary is still alive. Obviously, they both went to prison. And I think Fred killed himself a few years later. So they were both in prison. And I don't know if Rosemary is still alive, like I said. Maybe I shall find out. All right then, who else? So that's basically our murderers in a nutshell. We've had many, many more. We've been around for a long time. And our judicial system is a bit soft, in my opinion. But there we go. Like I said before in one of the other videos, I've worked in a prison for a number of years. Well, 3 years, I think it was. Yeah, right. Musicians. We got lots and lots of famous musicians. We could go into it for a long, long time. Scientists. Well, there we go. We got Stephen Hawkins, Charles Babbage. Now, what about, have you heard, Tim Berners-Lee? Tim Berners-Lee. Wow, you might not know his name, but he is accredited for inventing the internet. Yes, what you're using right now, the internet. A British guy, Tim Berners-Lee. Look it up. Very interesting. Isaac Newton, Darwin, Alan Turing. It goes on and on and on. And then sports persons. So there's a huge list of bright and colourful and amazing people that have come from the British Isles. So that's some of the people we are very proud of. Let me know who you're proud of. Who is your most famous sports star, celebrity, film star? Let me know down in the comments. Who do you really like that's leapt across lots and lots of countries and met hundreds and thousands of people or inspired thousands of people? Let me know who you really like from your country. Let me know down in the comments. I'd be interested to find out. If you've got any other comments that you'd like to add in the below, then feel free, especially if there's a topic you want me to cover, then please mention so in the comments, and we'll try to do some research on that and bring that video in. But for now, that's all we got time for. Right, like I said before, if you get a moment, please subscribe to the video. It does help me a lot, and I feel bad for asking, but it does make a big difference. All right, everybody says that, and it's cliche. It's cliche. Everybody says the same thing. Oh, it helps out, but it really does. It really makes a difference. Surprisingly, how many people watch a video and never subscribe, even if they like the content and the person. So yeah, that would help a little bit. Right, as always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and remember, have fun learning. If you don't have fun, you're not going to learn. Take care, bye-bye for now.